This is going to be a real challenge for Shedeur. I like it. I want him to face a challenge because I want to see how he is, in these challenging situations, right?
But if you are going to be Shedeur Sanders, it's twofold. Winning footballs and games is important, putting a good body of work together is important, and making sure, improving yourself to not only the locker room, but the front office, that you still are improving week after week.
The Steelers this to me is the toughest challenge that Shedeur Sanders has faced yet, and I'm fascinated to see how he does.
The Cleveland Browns are standing at a crossroads, and at the center of it all, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who's about to face the defining moment of his young NFL career. This isn't just another game. This is history in the making. When the Browns take the field against the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday, Shedeur Sanders won't just be playing for a win. He'll be playing for his future. He'll be playing to prove he's the guy. He'll be playing to silence every single doubt that's been whispered in locker rooms and screamed across social media. And here's the kicker. If he pulls this off, if he delivers against a Mike Tomlin-coached defense that's made a living out of embarrassing rookie quarterbacks, he could completely alter the Browns' entire draft strategy. We're talking about dropping out of quarterback range. We're talking about Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore watching from the sidelines as Cleveland commits to their guy. But if he fails, if he crumbles under the pressure of a rivalry game, a playoff-bound opponent, and the weight of an entire franchise's expectations, then we're right back to square one. Mock drafts, trade scenarios, another offseason of chaos in Cleveland. So buckle up, because we're about to break down exactly what's at stake, why this matchup is a nightmare scenario for a rookie quarterback, and whether Shedeur Sanders has what it takes to create his own legacy. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The Cleveland Browns are bad. 3 wins heading into Week 17, a defense that's been spectacular, but an offense that's been inconsistent at best. And now, with Quinshon Judkins on the injury report, the margin for error just got even smaller. But here's where it gets interesting. Shedeur Sanders has actually shown flashes, real, legitimate flashes of being an NFL-caliber quarterback. The kid came off a game against the Buffalo Bills where Cleveland lost by just 3 points as an 11-point underdog. He moved the ball. He made plays. He kept the Browns competitive against a legitimate playoff contender. And that's exactly why this Steelers game matters so much.
You want to just completely take them out of that conversation, you win these next 2 games, they drop in the draft and they not getting the quarterback.
Think about what that means. 2 wins, just 2 wins against division rivals, and suddenly the Browns are picking in the teens instead of the top 5. Suddenly, trading up for a quarterback becomes exponentially more expensive. Suddenly, the front office has to ask themselves, do we really want to give up a king's ransom to move up when we've got a kid who just beat the Steelers and Bengals in back-to-back weeks? This isn't hypothetical. This is the reality facing Cleveland's front office right now, and Shedeur Sanders holds all the cards. Now, let's talk about the opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin. A defense that just held the Detroit Lions, yes, that Detroit Lions offense, mostly in check until late in the game. This isn't some pushover squad limping into the final weeks of the season. The Steelers are going to the playoffs. They're battle-tested. They're well-coached. And historically, Mike Tomlin owns Cleveland. He's won far more games in Cleveland than he's lost. His teams show up in division games. They thrive in these moments. And here's the twist. The Steelers are without DK Metcalf due to his altercation with fans. Their receiving core? Basically non-existent. Adam Thielen is available in 36% of fantasy leagues. Calvin Austin is their WR2. This is not a star-studded offensive attack, but that actually makes this harder for Shedeur Sanders, not easier. Why? Because Pittsburgh is going to lean on their running game. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, they're going to pound the rock, control the clock, and keep Sanders on the sideline. They're going to turn this into a low-scoring slugfest where every possession matters and every mistake gets magnified.
This to me is the toughest challenge that Shedeur Sanders has faced yet, and I'm fascinated to see how he does.
And he's absolutely right. The Bills were a better overall team, sure, but this Steelers defense, this coaching staff, this rivalry intensity, it's a completely different animal. Mike Tomlin has made a career out of eating rookie quarterbacks alive. The game plan will be simple. Confuse Sanders with zone coverages, bring pressure from unexpected angles, and force him to make quick decisions under duress. If Sanders holds the ball too long, he's getting sacked. If he panics and throws into coverage, he's getting picked off. This is trial by fire. This is sink or swim. This is the moment where we find out if Shedeur Sanders is built for this league. So what does Sanders need to do to survive this gauntlet? What's the game plan for success? First, he needs to get the ball out fast. We saw it early against Buffalo. Quick passes to Harold Fanning, play-action concepts, rhythm throws that don't give the pass rush time to get home. That has to be the foundation of the Cleveland offensive attack. Second, the run game has to show up. Rocket Sanders, Jerome Ford, somebody needs to move the chains on the ground. Because here's the reality. A young quarterback's best friend is a functional running game. It keeps defenses honest. It opens up play action. It takes pressure off Sanders to be Superman on every single snap.
But if you are going to be Shedeur Sanders, it's twofold. Winning footballs and games is important. Putting a good body of work together is important.
That's the key phrase right there. Putting a good body of work together. Sanders doesn't need to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. He doesn't need to play like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He just needs to be efficient, make smart decisions, and give his team a chance to win. But here's the catch. If the run game stalls, if Pittsburgh loads the box and dares Sanders to beat them through the air, then we're going to see the real test. Can he elevate when everything around him is crumbling? Can he make something out of nothing when the pocket collapses? Because that's when the hero ball tendencies kick in. That's when young quarterbacks start scrambling around, trying to extend plays, forcing throws into tight windows, and that's when turnovers happen. Now, here's the wild card in all of this. While Shedeur Sanders is trying to prove himself on offense, Myles Garrett is chasing history on defense. 22 sacks. Half a sack away from tying the all-time single-season record, 1 full sack away from breaking it, and he's doing it against the team whose player, T.J. Watt, currently holds that record alongside Michael Strahan. The storylines are too perfect. Garrett breaking the record in Pittsburgh against a Steelers team that's trying to stop him with the entire football world watching. But here's the connection to Shedeur Sanders that nobody's talking about. If Sanders and the Browns' offense can't score points, Garrett doesn't get his opportunities.
The only way to truly put the pressure on them is if our offense has to come out there and be winning the game and force them to do what they don't really want to do.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. If Cleveland falls behind early, if Pittsburgh can run the ball and control the clock, if they're playing with a lead and running out the game in the fourth quarter, Myles Garrett doesn't get chances. Aaron Rodgers isn't dropping back when they're up 2 scores with 5 minutes left. So in a weird way, Shedeur Sanders' success directly impacts Myles Garrett's legacy chase. The offense has to score. They have to force Pittsburgh into uncomfortable situations where they're throwing the ball more than they want to. And if Sanders can do that, if he can put points on the board, keep this game competitive, maybe even give Cleveland a lead, then Garrett is unleashed. Then we see the full fury of the Defensive Player of the Year hunting down a record. Let's zoom out for a second. What does this mean for the Browns' future? If Shedeur Sanders balls out against Pittsburgh and follows it up with another solid performance against Cincinnati, the front office has a legitimate dilemma. Do you draft a quarterback when your rookie just beat 2 division rivals down the stretch? Do you invest premium draft capital in a signal caller when Sanders just proved he can win meaningful games? This is the fork in the road. This is the moment where franchises either commit or they hesitate and end up in purgatory for another 3 years. And it all hinges on what happens Sunday afternoon in Cleveland. So, will Shedeur Sanders create history against the Steelers? Will he deliver the performance that changes the entire trajectory of the Browns' offseason? Here's the truth. This is a brutal matchup. Mike Tomlin's defense, a playoff-bound team with everything to play for, a rivalry game with all the intensity that comes with it. For a rookie quarterback still finding his footing in the NFL, this is basically a worst-case scenario. But that's also what makes it so compelling. Because if Sanders can pull this off, if he can go into a hostile environment against a superior opponent and come out with a win, then we're not just talking about a promising rookie anymore. We're talking about a legitimate franchise quarterback. We're talking about someone who thrives under pressure, who elevates in big moments, who doesn't shrink when the lights get brightest. The predictions are all over the map. Some analysts have Sanders throwing 2 picks in a blowout loss. Others see him breaking the sack record for Myles Garrett while still falling short. And a few optimists believe the Browns can pull off the upset with Sanders playing efficient, mistake-free football. But here's what we know for sure. Sunday is Judgment Day. Sunday is when Shedeur Sanders either proves he belongs or proves he's just another developmental project. Sunday is when the Browns either find their quarterback of the future or head back to the drawing board for the 100th time. The stage is set, the stakes are massive, and one way or another, Shedeur Sanders is about to create history. The only question left is, what kind of history will it be?